I'm here in Esme Street Environmental Park up on Tamborine Mountain. It's part of an absolute beautiful rainforest. Tamborine here happens to be home to Queensland's oldest national park and the third oldest in the world, so it is really a lovely day for rainforest photography. So what have I got in my pack? Well, in today's tip on rainforest photography, I thought I would actually go through what's in the bag. Now, I'll be going through this in a lot more detail in our full series, which will be on the internet if you're interested. I might put my jumper up there because this log's a bit damp. Being the rainforest, there's been a bit of rain overnight, which is great. Up we go. Okay, let's have a look at what I've got in here. I've got a mobile phone, keeps me in contact. I've also got a rain cover. I won't pull it out because it'll be a bit noisy. A rain cover for my camera bag. Being the rainforest, there's a good chance it will rain, and I actually like photographing in here on these really overcast days where there's a hint of rain about. So if the rain does come in, I've got that to throw over my camera bag. I've got a water bottle. It's not just to keep me hydrated. I also use this to create some effects in my photography in the rainforest, and we'll be going through that a little bit later in one of the other tutorials as well. I've also got insect repellent. Now, I've got two in here, and without trying to do too much on brands, one's a low allergy insect repellent. The other one is a pretty hardcore full-on insect repellent. Now, I don't like leeches, so one of the things I do is I do have the hardcore one as a spray so that I can spray it onto my boots, and that actually stops the leeches crawling up my boots, and that's very, very handy. This particular one does react to plastic, so just be very careful if you spray it and it gets on any sort of plastic. It has been known to melt it. So, what else is in here? I've got an umbrella. I've got alfoil. Now, this is something I find invaluable with my rainforest photography, and I'll be showing you exactly how to use this alfoil later on in one of the other tutorials. I've got a raincoat for myself. Now, I might just talk to you briefly about raincoats for yourself. A trick or something that a lot of people fall into if they do get caught in a heavy downpour in the rainforest and they don't have a long raincoat on, what will end up happening if you've got a short one is all the water will run to the end of your short coat and you'll basically end up drenched. Now, by having a longer coat, the water runs down over my knees and keeps my legs much more protected. It protects my jeans from getting as wet if I get really caught in a torrential downpour. And that means that I don't get as cold in winter and feel as uncomfortable. I just have the cheap lightweight ones. I'm not folding it up very well. I've got a plastic bag with my cleaning gear for my camera in it. I usually pack it actually at the top, so there's just another layer of plastic protection against the moisture. I've got a little pack in here. I've got my cable release. I've got triggers for my flash, and a couple of other bits and pieces like that. Okay, in this section I have a torch. Again, it actually has two functions. This torch is a very, very high powered LED light. It has two functions and I'll be showing you how to use that later on in the tutorials. Plenty of memory cards, spare battery. Now, when I'm walking through the forest, I just make sure that I don't store any of my keys or anything that's metal with my battery. I keep those separated because they can actually take out the charge, which I don't want. So I always make sure that my battery is nowhere near anything metal. Another thing I have in my bag here is as a plastic bag. I actually find this invaluable, and I'm going to show you how I use it. I'll just get my camera out. All my lenses, when I'm photographing in the rainforest, I make sure I've got a lens hood. So what I do is I pop the lens hood on. I already made a hole in this bag just to save with our noise issues. The birds are making enough noise. So I made a hole in this before I left the studio this morning. So I've just made a hole in the bottom of the bag. I simply feed my camera into the plastic bag wrap that hole around the lens hood, and then if I want to, I can pop a rubber band around there just to protect it a little bit further. Now, I'm not going to see the plastic in my shots, but if you can now see what I've got, is I've got a brilliant little raincoat for my camera. I can still get in and change dials and everything and have a look at my image on my screen, but it's just brilliant. I've tried other raincoats before. This is nice and cheap, easy. I reuse the bags when I'm finished. Another great use of the bags is that you use your rubber band, tie up that hole. Any rubbish I find in the rainforest as I'm walking out, in it goes and into the bin. I'll pop that back in there for now. Another thing I've got in here that you might find really interesting is heaps of packets of Silica Gel. Now these are awesome. My bag is literally lined with them across the bottom. In here in the rainforest it's very humid and there's lots and lots of moisture. So these help soak up that moisture and just help keep my gear a little bit drier, because it's also the internals of my camera that I want to keep dry. I don't want to increase the chance of mold growing inside my camera or my lenses. Not good. So that's what I've got in there, plus my 105 macro. And that is about it for my kit. The other thing I've got, which I guess isn't in the bag, is my tripod. I'm going to be working in low light, so I like to use a low ISO. The tripod that I'm using today is a Vanguard, and I love these tripods simply because I can get into all different positions in the rainforest. So if I am wanting to get up against a rock, I can get really down low, close to the ground. So I do like a tripod that is good and sturdy and that I can put into heaps and heaps of different positions. Last but not least, I think you need loads of patience. The rainforest is a beautiful place, but sometimes we just need to sit, listen and look around, and you'll be surprised what you see. I hope you've enjoyed this tip, and follow us for more of our rainforest tips, and we'll see you soon. Bye.